Sean's house. He said that Toni Morrison called, wanted to get back to start meeting with Kamoinge because they had stopped meeting too. And of course, Toni Morrison wasn't there. I wouldn't say of course, but he wasn't there. So I ended up joining back, or whatever you want to call it, meeting at Tony's studio, et cetera, et cetera. And then I said, you know what? These guys are doing the same thing they did 10, 15 years ago. In order for me to change this, because I love all these guys and I love what they were doing, they're some of the greatest photographers in the world then and now, that I would have to become president. So I did my little political maneuvering, et cetera, et cetera. I said, okay, let me go to Ray Francis, because Ray always liked me. Me and him always, I said, we touch base with Ray. When Kiss rings, Ray's rang, hey, Ray, help me out here. I want to become president. How would I do? He said, Buford, this is what you do. You got my vote. Because Ray is a very adamant kind of macho kind of guy. He said, well, you got my support. And a couple of people I didn't tell I was running for president because I knew their allegiance to certain people. So I had solidified that. So I said, okay. I came up with Lou had been the president since 1965. Bless his soul. But he never did anything. He was the figurehead, though. You think of Kamoinge, hey, that's Lou Draper. But he never initiated anything. So even before I became a member, there was an article in Camera Magazine. People dropped the ball on that, so I took that over. I got in touch with Alan Porter of Camera. But when I didn't go past Lou Draper, I said, Lou, can I do this out? He said, yeah. So I took that over. So I've always been an administrator with Kamoinge. So when I became president, when I maneuvered to become president and so forth. Did you vote for me, Sean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I said, about you.
Yeah, you told me I didn't have to pay you that money back, too.
Huh?
You told me I didn't have to pay you that money back.
Oh, that's right, because the check cleared. Okay, so Sean, he'll give his interpretation. One thing we overlooked, though, that Lou Draper said we should drop the word workshop. That's important from Kamoinge. So
that helps, because sometimes it says Kamoinge and sometimes it says Kamoinge Workshop. So yeah.
Lou Draper suggested we drop workshop, so we all agreed to that. Okay, now getting to me as president, I said, okay, we dropped the word workshop, so we need to incorporate, make this a business. So I got a lot of flack because people want to sit around looking for it. That's nice. My ego is not bigger than Sean's or somebody. But you're dealing with Anthony Barbosa, you're dealing with Sean Walker, Edgar Collins. These are heavyweights. So so it wasn't about ego. It just certainly about business. So I ended up getting with Steve Martin's help, Kamoinge Incorporated, which opened the gate for business. Steve Martin is deceased also. So after I got the incorporation, then I said the next step is to get the 501(c)(3) tax in. So I did that. So which opened the gate for Kamoinge for getting grants. Because as I keep saying, it's a business. I was, with the meetings, it's good to talk about photography, but let's talk about business too, copyrights, et cetera, et cetera. But they weren't interested. We didn't have an infrastructure with Kamoinge. That was one of the problems. Okay, so that's my thing. Oh, and I came up with the idea of annual picnics. We did picnics. In fact, the last picnic we did was, in fact, I gave Sean some of the pictures. He'll give them to you. The last picnic we did was in honor of Lou Draper, because Lou had passed. In fact, he had helped me with the previous picnic. But the picnic was my idea, and it couldn't have been done without Herb Robinson, because he had the car, and he would come out to my house, and we would get the hot dogs. But it became very stressful, because the day of the picnics, maybe 2 years in a row, it rained. And, we on edge, high anxiety, man, it's going to stop raining, so it was, we had purchased food, and it became a disaster to a certain extent. And our first picnic was given out at John Pendayu's house in Sag Harbor. That was the first picnic. And then we had it out after that in the Prospect Park in Brooklyn. So that's...
What years were you president?
2004 was our last picnic. because Lou Draper passed in 202.
Will you just say that again?
What years were you president?
Oh, I'm sorry. I became president, I think, in 2003. It was supposed to be a 3-year presidency, but it extended to 07 when I said I got to get out of here. Yeah, I think it extended to that.
So Kamoinge dropped the word workshop only in the early 2000s. 2000.
Yeah, somewhere along in there with Lou Draper's suggestion.
Okay, so that was a recent drop. Okay,
Right.
no, that's helpful. Yeah, so I think maybe just another question about the photographs.
Yeah, will you just kind of describe your style or what it was kind of that you
You
were looking
have to
for?
speak a little louder because
Yeah. Will you kind of just describe your photographic style, maybe how it compared to some of the other photographers? Maybe what you were looking for when you were walking around with your camera? Anything that could kind of illustrate, some of the images.
Well,
Yeah.
in fact, I've been making notes on style. Okay, what is style? How do you judge a person's style? Is the style based on the content of the photographs they take, or I'm gonna just deal with photographers? Is it based on the content? Is it based on the printing style? Is it based on the angle of a camera? It's all tricky, but my photography is very eclectic. I photograph all over. In fact, years ago when I took my portfolio to one of the editors, they said, well, you're all over the place. I said, yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm just not locked into photographing rocks. If you want to see some rocks, you just ask for rocks. I got a whole collection of rocks. So my photography is all over. And in fact, the 10 photographs I'm talking about, you will see the range of my work basically in that. And I've been influenced by Roy DeCarava, Andre Cortez, Van Elsken, and Rembrandt, and I think Roy Eugene Smith, and Sean Walker, and members of the group, Herb Robinson, and Aaron. In fact, I got an Aaron Siskin grant, based on my abstract painting and stuff, the drawing rather, from Aaron Siskin. And and Edward Hopper and Huey Lee Smith. So my influences are not just photographers, but also painters and music. And Jackie McLean, I met him. I spent a weekend with Jackie McLean in 76, somewhere along in there. One of the most wonderful times of my life was spending time with him and hearing tell stories of him and Charlie Parker. And Jackie McLean came to tears when he was telling me about Charlie Parker. He said, you know what, Buford? I don't have one picture of me and Charlie Parker. And he started crying. But anyway, that was a very touching moment for me with Jackie Mack and Charlie Parker. With the story from Jack McLean and his wife Dolly. They opened their house up to me for like a weekend. And Jackie was taking me around and introduced me. And this is beautiful. I said, Jackie, I'm here to photograph you. This is not about me. But he would take me to different restaurants, and people just adored him up in Hartford. And he said that he could have moved to a better location, but he said, I want to be with the people here. So he stayed. He had his Mercedes and fabulous house, but hey, this is what you're talking about. Where else would you have moved that's better than this? But anyway, that's with jazz. Mm-hmm. And Sean could come in on the part about Kamoinge, with jazz. That was before my time, because I keep hearing stories about Kamoinge and jazz. I said, well, I was at all the meetings. I never heard any jazz. But Sean explained it to me the other day that was 2 years before I joined the Kamoinge. And now getting to the, I'll save you some space for the Aperture article, but you go ahead though.
No, that's fine. Go ahead with the Aperture article. So that was the recent, the Vision and Justice Aperture issue by Sarah Lewis, and Carla Williams wrote a piece on the Black Photographer's Annual.
Yes, thank you. I think it was a wonderful issue. I saw the Kamoinge show there, and first I read it, but I said, well, you know what, in order for me to make some corrections or edit it, you're going to have to break down Buford and spend $15 to buy this magazine. So I saw the last day of the exhibit, And the woman was at the counter, and she gave me the book, and we was talking about the show, and I told her that I was the president emeritus of Kamoinge. She said, "Oh, you are?" And I said, "Yes." So she said, "Wait a second." So I said, "Well," she said, "Well, I want to go get somebody." So I wondered if she's going to call security. But she went and got, I can't think of his name, this is terrible, I owe him a thank you note. But he came out and said, "Oh, you're Buford Smith," shook hands, etc. He said, "Well, no, you don't have to buy the annual. It's a gift." I mean, annual, the issue. So I thanked him for that, and I owe him an apology and a note. I think it's, well, I don't want to mix up the name. But anyway, I was elated about the article and also disappointed. Disappointed in the sense that Carla Williams, who we have corresponded over years when I was a member, used to write about Kamoinge. So she knows me. And she published one of my photographs in, I think it was Source magazine. Maybe Sean could help me with that. Sean Walker and Al Fenor and I were in that. And I don't know if Blue Dragon was in it or not. A recent magazine, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So Carla knows me well enough to know that when you write an extensive article like that about the Black Photographers Annual, you just don't say that Joe Walker was an editor. You say he was the publisher. And you say Buford Smith was the founder and the editor. So that annoyed me. It wasn't about my ego. It was about historical facts that are always being maligned, not maligned, but bundled or whatever. Now, jumping to that, there's a professor, also a photographer, Bill Gaskin. He did an interview on Kamoinge last year at the Schomburg. And during the interview, he had mentioned the Black Photographers Annual in connection with Kamoinge, and I was very surprised. So after the lecture, the interview he did with Kamoinge, I thanked him and everything. He said, "Oh yeah," he mentioned Black Creation. So I told him, I said, "Bill, I have several issues of Black Creation magazine." So he said, "Oh, well, I'd like to see them." So he came out to my home in Brooklyn, and we talked about that. And I said, "You know what, Bill? I really appreciate you mentioning the Black Photographers." And he said, "Oh yeah, that got me started." In fact, he recently sent me an email about how the first annual influenced him. So I said, "You know what? I've been talking about writing my own history of the Black Photographers, and I seem like no one is going to do it, including getting certain facts right, including Deborah Willis, who's a friend, and she knows Carla Williams. Was it Carla Williams? Yeah, Carla Williams. So they know certain things about the annual. And so I said, "You know what? I'll have to write it myself." And he said, "Well, you know what, Buford? I'll do it." So I said, "What?" I said, "Are you willing to take on this job of writing the history of the annual?" He said, "Yes." So I said, "Okay, I'm going to put this on tape, Bill." I always take that. I did. So he came back maybe a month later from Cornell, and he interviewed me concerning the annual. And so he's going to, hopefully one day write the history of the Black Photographers Annual from Buford Smith, because I'm the last man standing in this sense. So the Carla Williams, as I just mentioned that, so that's all I have to say about that. So one day when I get around, I will write an article concerning that.
Good. Good.
Oh, one more thing that I wanted understood, that the annual was not discontinued because of lack of funds. It was because the lack of quality work that we felt was coming in during that time. Just go to the camera. So that's it.